In the distance is the Meatpacking district. Now, what has made this area famous is that there's so many hotels, so many nightclubs all around here. And the people of New York, when they want to have a really fun time, they go to the Meatpacking district. And usually people don't complain about the noise, because at around 3 or 4 o'clock, even though there's a lot of noise, it's still okay, because people are all right with it. You're expected to make a lot of noise. And what they did is, about 20 years ago, they moved a lot of the nightclubs from the Midtown area of Manhattan to the Meatpacking district, where people didn't mind the noise too much because people really weren't in the Meatpacking district. It was just abandoned warehouses and abandoned meatpacking places. Just another view of the Meatpacking district from around 14th Street and 9th Avenue. This has become a very, very popular place. You can see all the buildings around here, and they've made the whole area around here very pedestrian-friendly. And they want it that way because they want people to come here at all times, not just in the evening, but preferably in the evening, to make it so that everyone can enjoy the area. And if you look in the distance, as we turn around, that is the Hudson Yards development in the distance. Right next to it, there's a lot of other buildings, and Google has made a lot of acquisitions in this area, and they're going to be making a lot more acquisitions. So you can see as we turn toward 14th Street and we're looking west, you can see all the new developments that have occurred. It's an incredible area. And then also you'll notice they have cobblestones on the street, which is not savvy unless you want to encourage tourists to come into the area, and then it's really, really savvy, because cobblestones are just so difficult to maintain. But you can see how they transform the area into a very pedestrian-friendly area by having all the tables and the places for people to walk. They really needed that, because it was getting too crowded with having just streets in that area. And this is just a closer view of a lot of the buildings that are around here. For the aficionados out there that like to know more about what the buildings look like. And here is another view of the beautiful buildings around here. Again, this is the Meatpacking district. This is where a lot of people go just to have a party. You can see here people eating, and it's just a very enjoyable day. And it's a very pedestrian-friendly area. This used to be, these used to be streets here, but they changed it around, as I was mentioning earlier, to make it more pedestrian-friendly. Look at those cobblestones. That's just amazing. And you have a lot of interesting places here. Now, for example, here in Soho, you have something called, here in the Meatpacking district, you have something called the Soho House. This house or building here is a private club. You pay $1,000 per year, and it has the most beautiful rooftop. You have to be a member to use the rooftop, or you have to be with members. A lot of times they'll have private events in this space, when the people going to the private events try to go to the rooftop, but they're very strict about that because they want it strictly for members. But it's a very hip private club. They have that in London and in some other major cities, and they try to make it so that it's an affordable private club versus a lot of the other private clubs that are in the other parts of the world. What a great job they've done here in the Meatpacking district. You can see what they've done is they've changed the area around to be much more tourist friendly. And look at all the developments around here. And down this street, there's a lot of nightclubs. And you can see people late at night streaming into the streets, streaming out of the streets. So all along here, it's very, very popular. And there's a constant state of development. Now, the city itself is trying to protect a lot of these buildings because obviously developers are going to want to turn these buildings from low rises to mid rises or to high rises. But the city doesn't want that because that's going to affect the nature of the entire area. So the city wants to maintain it like this. And I think that the tourists and the people that find this popular like that also. They would prefer to have something not as dense, not as packed with a lot of people. And it's really a great job that the city has done, that the developers have done. You can see even here, Hermes. Hermes just doesn't appear anywhere. It appears where the buyers who buy Hermes products are. Now, this area is still part of the Meatpacking district, and in the distance you could see the Whitney Museum. That's the museum that moved from Midtown to the Meatpacking district. Changed the dynamics of this whole area, but you can see more construction going on. It's just amazing. A lot of clubs, but you can see more of a prevalence of high-end stores. That is also changing the dynamics of this whole area where you see the higher end stores. So it went from no one wanted to be here about 40 years ago to 20 years ago started to become hip. People hung out for the evening but then they went home, to now being cool. But that's the history of neighborhoods, where they start, rise up, then kind of become cool, and then people look for other neighborhoods to be cool in. Now, this is still part of the Meatpacking district, but again, this whole area has transformed from what it once was to what it is now. Just an amazing transition. And that tall building in the distance, that's the Standard Hotel. At the very top, it's called Top of the Standard, one of the iconic places in the city to hang out in the evening. It's not that big, but it's one of the places that people like to go to. Well, in New York, you might have like 100 places like that. So as you go to a number of these places, they start to become repetitive. So what people do is they try to find different things to go to, different venues to be at. Of course, it's beautiful at the Top of the Standard. Just wonderful for people to be there. But a lot of times when people are putting on different events, a lot of the people who would attend an event at Top of the Standard would have been there already, which is good. It says a lot for the Top of the Standard, but it's always good to have change. And that's why the Top of the Standard makes a big effort to change things around, to do different things, have different types of events. But again, that is part of the Meatpacking district also. And this building here that we're seeing, completely renovated. Originally, it was just like a 2-story brick building, and they added these like 3 stories plus a rooftop. Makes it much more valuable for them to do that. Because this is such an area where people just like to have a party, that rooftop becomes invaluable. Just another view of the Meatpacking district, the less scenic side of the Meatpacking district, but still part of the Meatpacking district. Clubs, venues all around here.